Welcome back, everybody, to the Property Podcast today. I'm your host, as you know, Lee Dahill. I've got Ben on the show this week from Agency Express, and I'm going to let Ben do his own introduction. So I'm going to pass over to Ben.
Good morning, Lee. Lovely to be here with you, and hi to all of your wonderful estate agency listeners. My name is Ben Brookes. I'm the Managing Director of Agency Express, the UK's largest for sale board service provider. We put up boards for estate agents around the UK. So if you're not using us already, then you probably have come across us at some point in the past.
Brilliant, brilliant. Ben, I've followed what you do for many years. We've been in partnership and other things, so I'm really pleased to have you on the show. I want to ask you first off about the new app that you've got coming. Can you tell me about it, please?
Always happy to talk about the new app, Lee. It's almost like I prompted you to tell me about it. We've been talking about something for a little while called the live board revolution, which sounds like a cheesy catchphrase, but actually it's something that we're really proud of. What we're trying to do is make boards work harder for estate agents. We know that boards breed boards. This phrase has been kicking around for far longer than we have. And we know that those boards that go up are going to generate more instructions for you if they're working harder. The biggest problem in our industry is we know that we're not the most important thing in your day. Okay, we're not the most important phone call you're going to make. We're not the most important email that's going to be sent. So we've got to find a way to get the end result for you as quickly as we can for the least amount of money. And that's ultimately what we all want out of anything, right? We've all developed this need from Amazon for something to turn up 10 minutes later, and if it hasn't arrived within 30 seconds from China, we're all enormously disappointed. So we need to get to a state with boards where they are as quick as they can be, but looking good and generating instructions for you. So what we've done is we've taken all the best functions of our system, SignMaster, which is our online business management tool. So it manages all of the board activity for the estate agents. They'll log in, they make a request, they can tell us whether they'd like the board, they can request an agency QR panel to be added, they can request wording slips, all kind of stuff. And then it'll track that instruction all the way through to completion. But the problem is, up until now, this has been a function that has to be managed by the administrator at a desk in a branch. And we know that missing one day of advertising on that board is potentially a lost instruction, right? Or someone walking past and generating information. So what we've done is we've taken all those functions and turned it into a native mobile app which you can download. It's completely free, available for all of our clients, and it takes all of those best functions and puts them into your phone. So now you can order your board requests on the move. As and when you've done an appraisal with a potential client and you're getting them to sign the contract, and you say, hey, let me order your board now. Let me get that done for you right now. Show me where you want it. Point to where in the garden where you'd like the board to be. The agent can take a picture. They can upload that with the instruction. But most importantly, we receive that straight away. So our operators, our board directors on the ground, are going to receive those instructions immediately. And it means we're getting that instruction a bit quicker from you. It might only be half a day or a day, but that could make the difference between that person walking past and generating a lead or not. It also will generate all the pictures we take of all the work we complete. You'll be able to see them. And from the agency perspective, and it's almost like I planned this, I've actually put the app on my phone so I can show your wonderful listeners a picture of what it'll look like. You can actually see the pictures of where all the boards are located, and you can show this to your customers. So when you're out and you're trying to get them over the line, saying, come on, guys, you really need to use Ben Brookes Estate Agents. We're brilliant. Well, why would I use you guys? Well, here we go. Here's a picture of all of our sold boards out on the ground. You can actually see it's tangible. That's where we are. That's how good we are at what we do. That is something, as far as I'm aware, and you're probably going to tell me I'm completely wrong, Lee, but as far as I'm aware, no one else can do that at the moment. So all of those functions, all those benefits, completely free, just for using our service. So that's what we're trying to do.
And that does help them on the ground, doesn't it? Because they're able, when they're sitting in the living room, to showcase that, along with all the other things they're able to showcase. But it does look good that you're able to go, I can see that, you're really good at what you do.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Agents, it's a long time ago since I worked in an agency. We work on image, right? It's all about image. It's all about the way we project ourselves. And how, when you go through that door and you speak to someone, there's all these cliches that we all have to live with in a estate agency of sharp suits and nice shoes and nice watches and all that stuff. But it's there for a reason, because that image that we project of success is what encourages that customer or that potential customer to sign the contract and start using you, especially if they've got another agent coming in half an hour to do another appraisal, right? So how do we get them over that line? We've got to give you as many tools as we can, as many functions as possible, and that's the responsibility of the entire PropTech industry and the wider support industry for estate agents as a whole, to give you as many tools and screws to turn to get them to sign that contract. And that's just one of those functions that we can give you that actually might just push them over the line. If they're at 99%, what's that 1% that we can give you that just takes them past that point? And there you go. The active boards page, that's the key.
Brilliant, Ben. And I know last year you launched the agency QR. How did it go?
Oh, it's been brilliant, actually. Well, we all know what QR codes are now because we all lived through COVID. Wasn't that wonderful? And we've all been to Wetherspoons and we've all been to Nando's. So we know how to use a QR code. And it's taken a while because these things have been around for a long time. Most people don't even know that they were originally created by Toyota. Did you know that? Back in 1992, 93. And it was to track parts on cars. That's what they were created for. And so they've been around for donkey's years, but we've now finally worked out how to use them to our advantage. And what Agency QR does is it enables us to put a panel on a board, we've got one, which the agent can scan. If you scan that, it'll actually work, I think.
Let me try.
Yeah, no, let's move. I don't know where that goes, so let's not. I've just dug the one out of the cupboard. It allows the agent to put a panel on the board, and they can link it back to wherever they want. So this may be going through to their Rightmove listing. I can hear the boos from distance as I say Rightmove. It might be going through to their own individual website. Maybe it's a virtual tour. Maybe it's a capture page, whatever, right? So they can link it live back to wherever they want it to, and that happens the second we add it to the board. They can then track the number of scans, so how many people have been past, scanned it, and they can see the last time it was scanned, so how regular the activity is. And we've had all different kinds of agents. The really interesting thing was we expected it to be very much lettings focused, high turnover, regular footfall, stuff in busy areas, And it hasn't really worked out that way. It's a real cross-sector. And actually the busiest panel that we've had was 500, I wrote this down earlier, 586 scans was for Savills. That was in Cambridge. So you wouldn't necessarily think that's an obvious agent to use that kind of service, but actually for them it worked really, really well. And we've had over 60,000 scans now across the panels. It's an average of 8 or 9 scans. And
that's what per board, 8 or 9 scans per board.
8 or 9 scans, yeah, as an average.
Wow.
And it's each one of the some of those are going to be speculative. They're people just gaining information, right? But it's all raising brand awareness, and that's why the board's there, isn't it? It's there to generate activity to the agent. So
it is. It's also helpful, from my own journey of buying and selling. It is helpful having the board because for me, I know some places developments don't allow it, new developments, stuff like that. But for me, I find it a flagship as to when I see something on one of the portals, for example, and then me and my wife, before we'd look in the house, obviously we'd look at the pictures, I'd go to the house and the for sale board was useful because then I can find the house and then I can go, I don't like the road before I even got in there. Or, well, that's going to be a pain because look how many people have parked there and that's going to block my drive and I can't bother to look at it. Whereas for me, that was more useful for that instance being the end user buying because it allows me to see the house without seeing the house and gives me a perspective of whether I even need to see inside the house. And when you combine that with, say, for example, some of the other cool kit that you've got, like being able to do the virtual tours and look around the house properly before you've even gone in a house, and then you can go outside the house, you're so much further along the journey when you go into the house as the end user, as in me buying a house or flat or whatever I'm buying.
It works in a positive way and in a negative way, doesn't it? The board's there to do both things. But I think for me, we have a name for those, by the way, for people like you who do that sort of, we call you drive-bys. So the volume of drive-bys. Yeah, it'd be lovely to be able to actually track this, how many people do the drive-bys. But it's a big part of it. Having that board there indicates to you where the property is for sale and you're going to be able to find it. If you know there's a house, especially with the portal listing, because it's not going to give you a full address. We know that, right? Because we want to try and garner that lead rather than just punting the information out to them. Some people, as you say, are soft leads. They don't want to make contact yet, and inevitably. We're British people. We don't actually like talking to each other that much. So the last thing they want to do is pick up the phone and actually have a conversation. They don't want to do that. So it gives them a way to interact without having to worry about it.
It does. And my reason for doing it is because I don't like wasted time. I don't like wasting my time. I don't like wasting other people's time. And there's no point of me seeing something that I don't like before I've even seen it. I just think that there's no point. So for me, that's one massive positive that I think some people maybe miss with having the board, is that it gives it an actual destination that people can go to, see easily, and go yes or no. And it's not so much as a yes, okay, I maybe looked at, say, let's say I drove past, easy numbers, I'm terrible at maths, 10, did 10 drive-bys, and I only liked 4. It's not that I've wasted time not seeing them. I've not wasted the agent's time in spending 30 minutes taking me around a house that I've got no interest in buying.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So,
I think it's a great pre-qualifier
yeah,
without
exactly. That's
realizing
the
it
word.
is.
That's the word, isn't it? It's qualification of leads. That's what it's doing. It's helping to qualify that lead before they arrive at your doorstep for the viewing. There's nothing worse than when you rock up to do a viewing for someone and they get out the car and you can immediately see on their face, oh, they're not going to like this. This
No,
isn't for
it's,
them straight away. That's
yep,
such a waste of everyone's time when you could be out doing a viewing or
yep.
callbacks that are actually going to generate you some positivity. So yeah, it's great. We know the value of boards. That's why we do
Mm,
it. But I think it's becoming more prevalent, more important for agents more than ever about that idea of brand awareness. We all know how
yes.
important brand is now,
Oh,
and
yes.
and agents are getting so good at finding ways to push their brand and
They are.
explain how different they are to each other. Some of the videos I see on LinkedIn and stuff, property tours and stuff with drones, and it's brilliant, it's fantastic, and it is genuinely interesting, even if you're
It
not looking
is.
to buy.
It is.
So
It is.
boards just add another facet to that. We think it's just there to support the process.
It is. It is. And Ben, I want to ask you about what's next. Do we have anything exciting on the way? Any developments? Can you tell me anything in advance?
Always. I'm a techno joy person. People tend to fall into two categories, don't they? They're either technophobes and everything's terrifying, and AI is going to take over, and we're all going to be subservient like the Matrix, or
Yep.
it's techno joy, and actually technology is here to make life better, easier, quicker, faster, and we're going to get more out of it. Um,
Enhance.
Enhanced life. What a wonderful idea. Yeah. What can we do to make things better? Well, at the end of the day, the board goes outside the property and it's there for a reason. So we've got to find other reasons for that person to interact with the board and to find a way to make contact with that agent, right? What we're trying to do, we actually want to get that person in touch with you. So we're trying to find ways to encourage that interaction and response. So we've got some really cool stuff coming next year with NFC chips about the ability for someone just to wave their phone near to a panel and it will generate information and send it through to them. So rather than having to have the physical action of open up camera, scan QR code, which requires input, they'll be able to just hold their device nearby. It will push the information through to their phone and encourage them to make contact with the client. But one of the things we're really keen on developing within the SignMaster app is ways to push information back to agents in real time. So what you don't want is something being refused. So we have this regularly where we'll go to a property to erect a board, we knock on the door, the customer says, "Why are you here? I'm not marketing the property till next week." That's wasted time for the operator, for us, but more importantly, the first interaction that your client has had with us, with you, has been negative. It's arrived too quickly. So how can we make that interaction faster, quicker? How can we make it better? So we're going to be using live push notifications to the app into people's phones. It's all about finding ways to interact with agents in a live function. So the next notification we're going to have within SignMaster is the ability to push information when we're live on site. If we arrive there and we've gone to put up a board, the customer comes out and says, "Why are you here? We're not marketing a property for 2 weeks." We can push that information back to the estate agent live onto their phone. So they're going to get a pop-up which says, board has been refused, customer has said they're not marketing for 2 weeks. What we can then do is that enables the estate agent to call the customer and go, "Oh, I'm really sorry, guys, wasn't aware it was a 2-week marketing window. We'll order that to come back in 2 weeks for you." That immediate response means that customer is going to feel valued, they're going to feel listened to, and all of a sudden the response from the agent from a negative situation has been turned into a positive. And we can do that in so many other different ways, that because we're so early in that process with the client, that you're going to go and you're going to do the listing. We're going to then turn up usually the next day or the following day. We're early in that process. You need that response to be positive, a nice, shiny, clean van, a nice, friendly operator. But also
Yes.
that if there is anything that's gone wrong, that's not quite right, that's fed back immediately, and it gives you that chance to respond back to them. So that's what we want to get to. I'm not here to bombard people's phones with endless messages, but the more information we can provide, I'm a great believer in data. The more data you have, the more informed you are, the more useful you are to your clients, and the better service you can give. So the more we can give, the better.
100%. Ben, I want to ask a few questions about, I call this the personal part of the podcast. I'm going to come up with that as the 3 Ps. But that's what we're going to call it from now on. So I want to ask you about what you've learned from being in this field that you feel people should know.
People as in estate agents, or people as in the wider public at large?
I would say more for estate agents.
Okay. So I'll answer both, right? Because I think what people need to realize at large, so not the estate agents industry, because they already know this, is how hard agents work for them.
Yes.
That's the thing that gets lost. I don't know how we overcome that, because there's this historical stigma of estate agents that we're all aware of. You know, it's been around for as long as people have been selling houses. But in my experience, in our experience, no one works harder than agents. We speak to them all the time. We watch what they do. We visit branches. We go in to see customers. They graft, you know, and the general public don't see that. And it would be lovely to find a way to get across how hard agents work for the piece of pie they receive when the house is actually sold. What would I say to estate agents? From my side of things, from a board perspective, simple is better. So there's a temptation to make boards and design and stuff overcomplicated, or to try and find a way to make yourself unique and stand out. You don't need to. The most important thing is that your logo and branding is strong. What the board actually looks like, it could be a whiteboard with a logo on it. That will stick out. People will remember that because it's your brand that carries the image, the colours. One of my favourite boards locally here is a company called Miners and Brady in Norfolk, and their board is just 2 colours. It's sort of a yellow and a kind of a light blue colour, and then it's got their logo on it. And that's it. There's nothing more complicated than that. But you see one, and immediately you know that it's their board, and that brand carries a lot of strength with it now, just simply because of the colours. Whereas if you take something very fussy or very dark, you know, using heavy colours, blacks, purples, blues, it just gets lost and people forget it immediately. But that image, that brand on the board, strong colours, keep it simple, don't overcomplicate things.
Thanks, Ben. And I want to ask you about what's personally your favourite thing about what you do?
Talking to you, obviously. This is a highlight of my year.
Well done.
I'm hoping this will be one of many. I think working with helping estate agents to solve problems. You know, at the end of the day, what we're here to do, we put up boards. It's not rocket science. Yeah, we know that. But inevitably there'll be challenges along the way. You know, sometimes there'll be like a sponsorship going on, and an agent needs 100 boards up, and they need them done by Friday. You know, those kind of things, and we have to find a way to resolve that issue. It's amazing how regularly they'll come up with something completely different, completely new within the board world, and you think, how can we have found something new? I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, and yet people do. So I think solving the problems for them is good. And then when you get that phone call back and think, it's gone really well, that's nice, isn't it? That's what we all strive for.
It is, Ben. And I've got my final question, which is probably my favourite question, is who's the most influential person in your life, and how did they impact you?
Other than you? Other than you? Okay. Oh, that's a tricky question. Okay, I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2. So the most influential person in my life, the obvious one, of course, is my wife. She's a nurse, and she now she does all kinds of things with hospitals and auditing and loads of things like that, I understand. She impacts my life in a lot of different ways, but mainly because she sees what I do from a completely different angle. If you work in the public sector and you don't work in private like we do, you see things very differently in terms of how you approach a problem, how you deal with a staff member or whatever. So it gives me this wonderful perspective, and I'll be sitting at home raging about something. She'll say, but haven't you thought about it like this? And you go, oh, yeah, you're right again. Nightmare. Going to have to own up and tell you were right. So that's great. And then other than that, I would say James Hetfield from Metallica, because without Metallica, I wouldn't be where I am today. So.
I love it, buddy. I love it. You are right on the influential person and the other perspectives, and I often do that with my wife, and she sometimes says things to me, and I think, yeah, you're right. I really didn't handle that as well as I should from the other person's perspective who's looking at it as the outsider. So
Yeah.
a
So
good one.
valuable.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
It is.
and I will play this back to her, and now I don't have to buy her an anniversary present. So happy days.
That's it. Just wait until then, and just play the last, say, 5 minutes of this recording. You'll
Yeah,
be
have you got
fine.
my present, darling? Yes, here it is. Just wait while I press play on this clip.
Ben, thank you so much, as always, my
Always,
friend, joining us, and I really appreciate it.
always a pleasure. Great to chat with you, and thanks for the time. Much appreciated.